If you love cabbage rolls but hate rolling them, this Instant Pot cabbage roll casserole is about to become your new favorite dinner. And we're using two different plant based proteins. Before we start, if you want a snack guilt free, I've got a free cookbook for you in the description below. Now, let's start with the protein for this recipe. I'm going to show you how to cook brown lentils in the Instant Pot. Now, you could absolutely use a can of lentils if you want, but it's so cheap and easy to make these lentils. I really recommend doing it. You're just going to want to wash your lentils, give them a quick rinse before starting, and then you're going to use about a cup of dry brown lentils for this recipe because it'll give you a really nice texture. And to that, we're going to add 2.5 cups of water or broth. Now, I like to start with already hot water from my Instant Pot, which just speeds up the cooking a little bit. To that, I am adding about a tablespoon of my veggie bouillon. I'll leave the link in the descriptions. We're going to cook that for high pressure for 10 minutes and then let it naturally release for 10 minutes. That's going to give you lentils that are soft but not mushy. They are perfect for casseroles, bowls, meal prep, tacos. They're just fantastic to have on salads even. So if you've never tried making lentils in the Instant Pot, I really recommend doing so. You're going to love them. But we're going to drain those and set them aside while we get ready to build our casserole. For this Instant Pot cabbage roll casserole, I'm using an onion, TVP, marinara sauce, my intentionally eat veggie bouillon, pepper, mushrooms, diced tomatoes, and obviously cabbage. And we're going to put the lentils in as well. So I'm just going to dice up the mushrooms and the cabbage. I like a little bit of a longer slice of cabbage. You could absolutely dice this a lot finer if you want. It's up to you, but I like to leave it pretty long, as you can see. And it's going to cook down really well, but still give you a bite. Now, remember, you want to remove the core from that cabbage. It's just too hard. You won't be able to eat it. It's not good. So we have chopped that up. We're going to chop our onion as well. Now, as I'm chopping this onion, I'm going to tell you, I did not add paprika to this cabbage casserole. You might like it. I'm just not that big of a paprika fan, but absolutely you can add that when we get to the spices. For now, I'm sauteing for 5 minutes our onion. And then I'm also going to add in the mushrooms, just so that they can release a little bit of water and let that steam off so that it's not overly wet and moist. Now, while you're sauteing, I don't think you're going to need any splash of water or anything like that. We're going to keep this oil free, but because those vegetables should be releasing some water. But if you need a little splash of water, go ahead and add a tablespoon or two. We're just going to let this cook. I've added in some of the lentils. We're going to let that cook for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to start to layer the casserole. So I'm adding in half of my TVP, textured vegetable protein. It's a great source of protein. It is soy, so if you're soy free, just feel free to omit it and add in extra lentils. And then to that, we are also going to add in half of our rice. Now, all of the ingredients and the amounts are in the description. So I'm just using white rice. You could use whatever rice you like. I'm adding in some garlic powder, my vegetable bouillon, and I'm going to add in a little bit of Worcestershire, Worcester, you know what I'm talking about, sauce. Make sure that you get vegan Worcestershire, whatever sauce. And then I'm going to add in the cabbage. So we are building layers. Now keep in mind, my Instant Pot is a smaller Instant Pot. So I am cramming this one full. Don't cram yours as full as I'm doing, but yours is probably larger and you'll be able to get by with this recipe just fine. I'm adding in half of the tomatoes. And then I'm adding in some marinara. Now I'm going to use about 3/4 of the jar. I don't really like a ton of sauce, but if you do, then I'm going to recommend that you add in the entire jar. We're just going to make sure that the cabbage is covered, and then we're going to do another layer. So I'm adding in the mushrooms. Now these are not sauteed, but that's okay because there's not too many of them on this layer that it's going to add too much moisture. And remember, we've got that TVP, which soaks up a lot of liquid. So I'm adding in my lentils that we cooked. Now I'm going to keep some of those aside just for a salad for later on that I'm going to eat. So, but you're going to add all of yours in. And then here's the rest of the TVP that we are using. And again, this is going to soak up a lot of moisture and it's going to double in size. And then you're going to add in the rest of your spices that you want to use. I'm using garlic and my vegetable bouillon. You could add smoked paprika. You could add onion powder. And then here's the rest of the Worcestershire whatever sauce. You got to love that sauce. And then I'm adding in a little bit of black pepper to this layer. I really don't feel like this needs a lot of salt, but it's your casserole, so you determine. We're going to add in the rest of the rice. And again, I'm just using white rice. You could do brown, you could do wild rice, whatever you prefer, but white is more traditional for this recipe for the cabbage casserole. And then we're going to layer it with that final layer of cabbage. And you want to separate the cabbage a little bit. And remember, you could chop yours finer than what I have. I just really enjoy those long strands of cabbage. And we're going to top it with the rest of the can of diced tomatoes. You could use fire roasted tomatoes here to add a little bit of extra flavor if you want. And then we're going to add some more marinara. Remember, I'm adding about 3/4 of the jar, but if you like it saucy, then I recommend adding the entire jar. Now, because we are not going to stir this all together because we want those layers, we're going to need to add just a little bit of water. And I'm going to pour it around the edges. So remember, I've heated it up in my Instant Pot just so that it's already warm. I'm adding it around the edges of the casserole because I don't want to wash off the marinara and the tomatoes off of the cabbage. So just a little bit of water around the edges so that we don't get a burn notice on our Instant Pot. And then we're going to place the lid on. We're going to lock it and make sure it's sealed. We're going to cook it on high pressure for 10 minutes. And then you'll quick release it and open it up, give it a nice stir. That's it. You've got a delicious Instant Pot cabbage casserole that you are going to love. It's great for meal prep. It's fantastic from the freezer. I topped it with a little vegan sour cream. Delish. Remember to grab your free cookbook. It's in the description below and check out this Instant Pot bean soup.